What's up guys, Brendan Hancock here with another episode of Groove Subaru today, and today we're here in beautiful Boulder, Colorado, and we brought along a 2019 Subaru Forester Sport, and today we're going to take a look at the top 5 settings that I recommend changing on your new Subaru vehicle. Let's go take a look. So as I mentioned just a little bit ago, we are in a 2019 Subaru Forester Sport, although that's not super relevant for everything that we're going to say here. A lot of other Subaru vehicles are going to still have the same infotainment system, are still going to have these settings that we're talking about. So for example, what we have here is the 8-inch Starlink touchscreen infotainment system. So vehicles like, for example, a Premium and Above Outback, Premium and Above Ascent, Impreza, Sport and Above is going to have it. Limited Crosstrek is going to have it. So a lot of other cars are going to still have the same infotainment system. For the most part, everything that we say here will be relevant on those as well. Some of the ones also that don't even have the 8-inch screen, some of the smaller ones, they may still have automatic headlights, and even if it has a 6-inch screen, some of the stuff we'll talk about that will still be relevant. So worth pretty much anybody with a newer Subaru on taking a look at this video. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at is actually going to be over here on the bottom left control panel. We have a couple of buttons over here, things to lift the rear gate, turn off traction control, but what we're really focusing on right here is going to be this dimmer switch top right. So from the factory, you're gonna have these 2 dots lined up, and what that does is basically what it's gonna do is it's gonna keep your brightness on all of your lights in here and stuff like that, not the headlights, but your infotainment system and stuff, it's gonna keep it at full brightness all the time. Now for a lot of people, at night, that can be a little bit problematic. So long as you have your headlights set to auto and you don't mess around with the brightness adjustment on the infotainment system, because it's gonna default to brightness adjustment at auto, if we take it just 1 notch down from here, what that's going to do is it's going to keep your infotainment system nice and bright during the day, but at night, it's going to dim it just a little bit. And so I usually have found it so that when the auto headlights come on, it's about 10 minutes later that the screen actually goes down, because they come on around dusk. But this way it dims it just a little bit. The farther you go down and stuff, it's going to still keep it nice and bright during the day, but it dims it that much darker. And honestly, I think anything below, I would say 3 notches away from the 2 dots lining up is going to be too dark. So I would say just start with 1. Important that, for this to be relevant, it's important that you have your headlights set to auto. Otherwise, if you are in a more basic vehicle, if you just keep your headlights all the way off, the screen will stay bright. And if you've made this adjustment when you turn your headlights on, it will dim the infotainment system. So since we're in a Forester Sport, we have auto headlights, so we'll keep it on auto, brightness adjustment on auto, and just go down 1 notch over here to kind of give it that fine balance of brightness on the screen. Now the second thing that I recommend changing is going to be on the combination meter directly in between your speedometer and tachometer here. And in order to change this setting, we're going to use these little toggles over here. We have the 2 arrows and the I set button in the middle. And we're going to scroll through by tapping one of the arrows towards us. And what we're changing here is the tire pressure units. So for whatever reason, they come from the factory in kPa, which is kilopascals, which is metric. And so we want to change it to PSI because that's what we use here in the States, and so we can monitor our tire pressure. Now they're just going to show dashes now because we're not moving. But in order to change that setting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle through using one of these arrows until I get to the screen that says pull and hold the I set switch for menu. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull and hold that I set switch until the screen changes. And the first thing that's going to pop up is going to say screen settings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that by tapping the I set button towards me. And then I'm going to scroll with the arrows here until I get to tire pressure units, and then I'll select that using the I set button. And then it'll show me kPa because that's what I have set to now. I'll toggle down once with the arrow, and then it'll show me PSI, and I'll simply select that by tapping the I set button. Now to get out of here, you have 2 options. You can just sit and wait for about 30 seconds, and eventually it'll just kind of take you back to the home screen. Or I'm too impatient for that, so I like to go back here by toggling with the arrow. I select go back, and then I do it again. Select go back. Other things you can change in there are like warning volumes for different features of eyesight, but for the most part, really, I think everything's pretty much fine the way it is. So now we'll take a look, make sure we changed it the right way, and yes, our tire pressure has been changed to PSI. Now the next thing we're going to change, we're going to move on over here, and we're going to change the travel link weather location. Now if you have the built-in navigation, you know, typically this is going to change on its own. But if you don't, like in this Sport, we don't have, you know, we can use Apple CarPlay and use Google Maps and Waze and stuff, but we don't have like the built-in TomTom navigation that some of the higher trim levels have. So if we look up here, we'll see that we have New York Yonkers area as what it's going to default to. And that's what it's always going to default to if you don't have that built-in navigation. But it's very easy to change that. All you do is simply go to Apps here from your home screen. And then we're going to go to Travel Link. And this is going to be part of your SiriusXM subscription. I believe you only have the radio for 4 months, but I think you get this for about 3 years. So you do have this for a while. But if we go over here to weather, we'll see that it shows us the Yonkers. You can check 3, 6 hour, 5-day forecast and stuff. It's really nice. But we'll go to locations up here. And I'm going to have to hit add new location. And since we're in Denver, I'm going to change that to Denver area. So Colorado. Denver. Now, just because I've selected this doesn't mean it's changed it already. So I still need to hit the go back arrow, go back again, and then I'll see the list of both of these. I then need to select Denver Metro, and that's going to change it. So it should, yep, there we go. So we've changed it on the screen up here, so we are all good to go on that. Now, other things that we're going to change, we're all going to change here under in settings. So the fourth thing that I recommend changing, if we scroll down here, we see that we have, oops, I'm sorry, I'm looking under general here. So the fourth thing I recommend changing here, we see that we have Wi-Fi. And we have a Wi-Fi hotspot, which you can get through AT&T. You get it free, you know, for a month there, so you can pair your phone and stuff. But what we're talking about here is this built-in Wi-Fi, and this is going to allow you to connect to your home's Wi-Fi in order to do over-the-air software updates for the infotainment system. So no longer, you know, here in the near future, will you have to go to the dealership. Everything, all the updates and everything will be done over the over Wi-Fi. So long as you know, can park right outside your apartment or in your garage, something like that, you should have no problem in terms of connectivity there. So this isn't really adjusting a setting, but you would have to go into Wi-Fi settings, look for your network, type in your password and all that, which we're not really customizing a setting here. But what I'm referring to is down here where it says automatically check for updates. Now these are both off. You could manually check for updates, you know, if you wanted to. But what I recommend doing is automatically checking for updates, but not doing the automatically download, because what it'll do with this setup is you pull into your garage and it'll connect to your Wi-Fi and it will tell you, hey, there's an update available. Would you like to download it? Or it'll say your software is up to date. So this way you're always kind of in the know about whether or not you need to update your software. The reason I don't like doing the automatically download, you know, same reason it's annoying with your phone when, you know, you're like plugging it in at night to go to bed and it's like, oh, we're connected to a power source and, you know, we are connected to Wi-Fi, like let's do this update right now and it's going to take 10 minutes. This way it'll tell you, hey, up to date, or you have an option of downloading it at that time, and you can say no if you're in a rush to, you know, go do it. So, and last but not least, number 5, we're going to scroll down here all the way to the bottom under vehicle settings here to auto light sensor. Now, what we're changing here, and this is obviously assuming, you know, you have your headlights set to auto. What we're changing here is not, you know, the brightness of anything like that. We're just changing the frequency at which the auto light sensor is checking to see if it's dark outside. And when you have it at mid, basically every second the car's like, is it dark? Is it dark? Is it dark? Is it dark? So like you go under an overpass for like 2 seconds, it's gonna be like boop, boop with your headlights. And you know, if you've made the brightness adjustment things that I mentioned earlier, you know, your screen's gonna go bright, dim, bright, dim. And you know, with the headlights going on and off all the time like that, it can just be kind of annoying, and it's obviously gonna add extra strain to it as well. So what I recommend doing is just changing this to min. What that's gonna do, it's still gonna be the same level of brightness that you know, that the lights will come on at, but it's changing the frequency at which it's asking to only 7 to 10 seconds. So, you know, if you're going through the Eisenhower Tunnel or you're in a mall at a parking garage that don't have lights or something in there, you know, you'll notice after about 10 seconds, the headlights will come on. And so in my personal opinion, I find that to kind of be the best, because they're really just gonna come on when you actually need them to be on. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys have found this video to be helpful. If you guys did like this video, make sure to give us a like below. And for more helpful videos like this, subscribe to our channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time on Groove Subaru Today. Take care.